Hello and welcome to the Game Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Cassini. We are presented by The Athletic and CLNS Media. Today on the show, it is the triumphant return of Reags from over at Barstool. We are going to be previewing the college basketball season in its entirety. We aren't doing conferences anymore. It is the Wednesday before college basketball starts on Friday, November 10th. And we just wanted to do a big, all-encompassing look ahead to what is going to be in the offing this upcoming season. And what better way to do that than with help from our good friend 50 Cent. We're going to be doing 21 questions. I'm going to ask 21 questions of Reags. We're going to kind of give both of our answers and then go from there. So, Reags, how's it going, man? It's been a while since you've been on the pod.
Yeah, man, it's been good. It's the week of college basketball. It's the week of podcasts. Everyone's getting their season previews in, and as they should be. And I'm just excited that we can finally talk about games and not speculating random crap and everything else. So I'm excited just to, I want to watch Eastern Michigan at 10:30 a.m. and hopefully find a line I can throw on.
Dude, I'm so excited for just random-ass games. It's going to be awesome.
I can't wait. I can't wait to literally 11:30 in the morning, fire up the ESPN app and watch whatever stream I can find on some low mid-major.
What is the first game of the year? I really don't even know.
It's Eastern Michigan at 10:30 a.m. I forget who they're playing, but it's Eastern Michigan.
Oh, that is just beautiful. Let's take a look at the schedule here. So people know when they have to get in their gambling picks. If it's 11:30 for you, it's going to be 8:30 for
it's 10:30.
It's 7:30 for me.
It's 10:30. Yeah, it's 10:30 for me. That's perfect.
And my Cincinnati Bearcats. You're the one who lives in Cincinnati, but I'm the one who's all fucking in on Cincinnati this year.
It's because Cincinnati fans also think I'm a Xavier fan.
Cincinnati Bearcats play at 9 a.m. It's going to be great. Baylor plays at 10. Oh, this is an all-day affair, man. I'm
on a flight at 5:30 my time.
The best game afternoon?
5:30 my time at night. The best game of the day starts at 6. I am not thrilled.
Yeah, it's going to be Texas A&M, West Virginia, but there's no Big Bob Williams, so
I'll still watch it because my flight should have it, but it's still the best game of the day. And it's still, I still want to see Javon Carter. I still want to see Bob Huggins in a sweatsuit. I still want to see how, I want to see how Tyler Davis looks.
You know what I kind of sneaky think the best game of the day is, without Big Bob Williams playing? Kind of think it might be Iowa State, Missouri.
You know which one I've been saying to people have been asking, an under-the-radar game? Penn State Campbell.
Yeah, it's interesting because Chris Clemens against Chris Clemens. I like that.
Yep. And Penn State, possible tournament team.
Campbell, maybe.
Yeah. Campbell, top four team in their conference. So it's one of those, Penn State better not lose that. If Campbell wins it, maybe it's a quality win on their resume.
Yeah, I think it probably will be. A couple of other ones to watch. Yale, Creighton.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, Yale's actually kind of good.
But I'm very here for Makai Mason and Kyrie Thomas.
Yeah, Kyrie's going to take his lunch, I think. But
yeah, but Makai Mason, if he goes 2015 NCAA tournament, Makai Mason.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm very here for it.
That's a good point. Trying to think if there's any other random potential upset special to look at. I think Elon's
so.
Kind of okay, aren't they? They play Duke, so they're probably going to get waxed, but they're sneaky decent.
Yeah, they're again another top 4 team in the Colonial. It's a shame because last year we had 2 awesome games on opening night.
And we get the return of Steven Santa Ana against Grayson Allen.
That's true.
That's just beautiful to me.
That's true.
We're going to talk about all that and more here in this series. So again, like I said, the format here is 21 questions. We're going to run through it 50 Cent and Megan Fox sitting in a prison talking to each other in the 21 questions video. I'm going to ask Reags a bunch of questions, and we're going to go from there.
I might need a minute now thinking of prime Megan Fox.
Megan Good?
Yeah, Megan Fox in her prime was an absolute smoke show.
Megan Good was good. She was fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's start with number one here. how badly does the NCAA fuck up this college basketball season with the FBI investigation and everything?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's they're going to fuck it up with just every decision they make, because everything's either going to get tied to the FBI investigation or the North Carolina ruling. And there's no one way or another. They're going to fuck up this entire season because it's all people are going to talk about. Oh, this person got suspended, but North Carolina got off completely free. Oh, and then, why isn't Colin Sexton playing? Why isn't, Austin Wiley playing? Why isn't player XYZ playing? It's going to be a disaster either way.
Yeah, I mean, my big thing is, like, how far does this extend, right? Do we get a second batch of complaints leading to indictments? Do we get this being kind of everything the FBI has at this stage, where not a whole lot of other players are involved? I don't really know. I mean, like, we had to do kind of an email back and forth today for The Athletic, and the last question that was asked was like, how far does this thing go? And I'm just like, I don't really know. I mean, the FBI don't leak.
It's a complete guess. Yeah. Everyone's guessing.
It's a complete guess. And speaking of guess, we're going to move on to question number 2 here. It's going to involve some guesswork. Neither of us fucking know. Does Colin Sexton, Brian Bowen, Austin Wiley, Danielle Purifoy, like all those guys, did they play at all this year, do you think?
Brian Bowen, no, because he's in the weird spot of being at Louisville, and they have plenty of other sanctions. I think one of the other 3 will play. I don't know who, but one of the other 3 will play.
Yeah, I mean, I have no way of knowing, but I feel like that's going to be like the significant story of this season. Go ahead.
I was say, if you're like Alabama, would you just say, fuck it, we're just putting Colin Sexton out there? Who cares about vacating wins? We're still winning games, and it's still would you just say screw the NCAA and just go true heel?
Yeah, I mean, like if I was Alabama and felt like I probably couldn't make the NCAA tournament unless I had Colin Sexton, I might just do it. Like I might just say, screw it. I mean, like it's not like the college basketball team is going to lead to sanctions on the football team. You know what I mean?
Right, that's the money.
I mean, maybe they think that they can make a run. Like they have Braxton Key, Dazon Ingram, Dante Hall,
even hurt
John
now.
Petty. Go ahead.
But Key's hurt now with that torn meniscus.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, if they want to make like a significant run this year, yeah, I'd probably just throw them out there and say, hey, prove it. Prove that Colin Sexton got this money.
Go ahead, vacate wins in 10 years. We're still, we still have 26 wins. Yeah.
This is what you and I talk about all the time. Like the idea of vacating wins is crazy. Now, what could happen realistically is like the NCAA could be like, okay, you just flew in the face of what we were doing here in the investigation, so we're actually going to like ban you for next season as well from the postseason, and we're going to like actually screw you over.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that they would do that though. Do you?
I think I don't want to try to guess what the NCAA would do. My first instinct is that no way would they actually do that.
Yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, the NCAA is going to be a self-interested organization, and they don't want, like, charter member schools to be pissed at them and just, like, completely demolish them for something as silly as paying players. You know what I mean? Like,
because that could translate to Alabama football being pissed at the NCAA.
Yeah, I mean, like, everything, the NCAA is so dependent on its member schools, more so than its member schools are dependent on the NCAA, because at the end of the day here, until we find a better model for getting kids to professional athletics, the college athletics is probably the best manner to do it. And I don't know that we need an organization to really make that the case. It's cool to play for a national championship, and it's cool to do this, but at the end of the day, you just have to be 3 years removed from high school, according to the NFL. You just have to be 1 year removed from high school, according to the NBA, to be able to go pro. And, I mean, like, college football, could a member institution just withdraw from the NCAA? I don't know. But I think we're going into the weeds here, probably, in terms of, what the repercussions could be.
Yeah. I still just say, if the line's a half, I'm betting the over that at least one person plays out of the three.
Yeah,
I don't think Bowen plays.
So, like, DeAnthony Melton has been sitting out, right?
Yep.
And this is not one of the 21 questions. But, like, DeAnthony Melton's been sitting out so far of, like, USC's early season play, right? I don't know how this is going to work, right? Like, maybe he does play, and their first game coming up here on Friday, and they're just saying, like, he's not involved. Maybe he's hurt right now and just hasn't played in their secret scrimmages or anything like that.
USC's also deep enough to say, hey, we'll take the risk of him not for a couple games.
Yeah, but like for USC, it's a little bit different though because USC is good enough to make a run. You know what I mean? USC with or without DeAnthony Melton is good enough to potentially make like a Sweet 16 or something. With DeAnthony Melton, I think they're a legit Final Four threat. But like they can make a run without him. Alabama though, like I don't think Alabama can really do that.
No, I agree.
So
I have a sub-question for you off this question. 21A, we'll call it.
Okay. 2A.
2A. Who has a better chance of playing college basketball, Mitchell Robinson or one of these guys?
One of these guys.
Okay.
I think Mitchell's going to go pro after this year. Question number 3. I was talking to a head coach, while kind of doing my rounds of the West Coast here, right? Kind of talking with a wide variety of people and trying to learn about, what their opinions are on this. And he threw the number at me, over under 6.5 coaches who will be fired in conjunction with this investigation.
Oh, that's a great number.
Yeah.
It's just head coaches, right? So 6.5 head coaches.
6.5 head coaches by the time this FBI investigation is done.
Yeah, that's the caveat because who knows how long it takes.
Right.
I'm going to bet under just because I think in terms of just the FBI, they'll be like, okay, well, this is all we have, and I think you'll lose like three coaches from the FBI, and then the after research and everything like that by the NCAA might lead to more. But I'll bet under 6.5.
Yeah, he said over. I said under. I have less faith in the NCAA and like everything getting accomplished here than I think he does. Just generally, like I said, like to me, it's not the NCAA is a toothless organization, but they also just haven't shown over recent years the capacity to really punish schools. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean. And like right off the bat, you're losing 2 guys to the FBI because Bruce Pearl's probably going to get fired at some point due to this.
Yeah.
And you already lost Patino. So then the other names listed, like I don't think Larinaga is going to get fired because of this. I don't think Sean Miller will get fired because of this. I don't think Andy Enfield will get fired because of this. And so it just you start coming up with like who's really going to end up being fired, and I don't get to 7.
Yep. Let's move on from the NCAA investigation. Over under 7 more days spent in China for the UCLA 3. LiAngelo Ball, Cody Riley, and Jalen Hill.
I'm going to say under because I trust LeVar.
We're getting to LeVar in a second. What makes you trust LeVar?
I was talking to Doster about this yesterday on my podcast, and it's more that it's the perfect storm. Like, not only is it all these names and who's over there, it's UCLA, who's a huge brand and very heavy Asian population from a college standpoint. You also have, like, Trump's also in China right now, too. Like, does this get politicized at all behind closed doors? I just think it's a perfect storm to where China says, all right, we'll let these kids go, within 7 days here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be under 7. Like, to me, there's just no incentive for this thing to continue. I mean, like, some people are, like, super criminal justice-y and, like, oh, they should, serve the time for doing the crime. I mean, for fuck's sake, they stole sunglasses. Like,
right, like, it
was dumb, and it's certainly deserving of punishment, but...
It's probate. You go on probation.
Like, come on. Question number 5, does LeVar Ball cause an international incident trying to get LiAngelo Ball out of prison here?
I hope so, but I want to say I wish I remember where I saw this on Twitter, and someone said the whole plan is that he's going to now team up with Rodman, and they're going to solve just the entire like North Korea and China problem all at once. Like the two of them are going to team up and be the new tag team.
I mean, can we really like? There's no evidence out there that LeVar Ball is not an international spy.
No, I mean he runs like one.
Yeah, I mean
he's athletic.
Yeah, he stays in good shape. Yeah. You know,
what's really going on?
Do we know what he does like for a living yet?
No, he has a nice house.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, we cannot confirm that he's not like some sort of international spy.
I mean, it's just a perfect storm, man.
There is a preponderance of evidence that you could construe by looking at things really stupidly that says he's a spy. I'm just saying.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah. I think he's done a great job.
And everyone that buys and everything, like Big Baller Brand is just going to be littered with bugs and everything. So
Big Baller Brand is just a front for LeVar's. Maybe LeVar got kicked out of like the CIA or whatever and is now opening like some sort of consulting firm. And Big Baller Brand is just a front for that consulting firm for spy work.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That follows. Let's move on to basketball talk. Question number 6. There's really not another way to open this discussion than by talking about the number 1 team. So the question of the hour is this: is Duke back?
The best is I said that in a blog and someone was dead serious to me, like via social media, dead serious, like, you don't know basketball if you really think people are asking if Duke is back. I was like, well, that was an entire running joke last year, man. I don't know what to tell you. And They are, in fact, back. Like, they are Duke. They are back. They're going to be annoying, especially if you're not a Duke fan. Like, they're going to be an easy team to hate if you're not a Duke fan. Like, college basketball got its villain in Grayson Allen and in Duke, and they are very, very much back because they're also really, really goddamn good.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think they're really good, but, like, in terms of talent, I think they're incredibly talented. But,
like, the first 5, the starting 5 might be the best. I think the starting 5 is the best starting 5 in the country. So now, after that is where the questions are. That's
exactly what I said today, and, like, the thing that we had to fill out. Like, Duke's best 5 is better than anyone else's best 5. I think it fits better than anyone else's. I think that it has the biggest variety of skills. They're big, they're long, they're athletic, they can shoot, they can kind of do everything.
Highest upside.
My big question is kind of like this. Are we sure that Coach K is like a good defensive coach with freshmen? Are we sure that he teaches freshmen defense really all that well at this stage? So if you go back from the time 2012 started, when Austin Rivers became the first like in this parade of one and dones that Duke has had, right? They finished, on average, over the course of the last 6 years, 55th in Ken Palm's adjusted defensive efficiency rating. I'm, like, kind of sneaky curious, like, is this, like, an actual trend? Like, is Duke kind of just not a good defensive school because it's really, really hard to teach their freshmen, to teach their defensive scheme over the course of 1 year?
I'm going to speak out of both sides of my mouth here. I think part of it's due just to a lack of depth that they've had, to where, like, they've just had to play that shitty 2-3 zone, which just gets destroyed because they can't afford foul trouble. The other thing is they haven't had that like good. When's the like last like great defensive guard that they've had?
Quinn Cook was really good. They won the national title that year, and that was their best defensive team that they've had for a while. That's
kind of goes with what their man-to-man is because they jump passing lanes, they take away the three-point line, and that's what makes them, to me, why I think they're still not a bad defensive team is because they just take away the three-point line.
Does Matt Jones count, or is he like more of like a wing to you?
I think he was really good when he first came in. Then I think he got a little overvalued as a defender.
Yeah, I don't think that's wrong necessarily. Tyler Thornton was really good too. They've had but it's been like a few years since they've had a really, really good guard defender, and you know. A lot of people think of Duke, they think of slapping the floor on defense and really that intense man-to-man point of attack defense, and that really hasn't happened.
You think of the goofy white pointer, you think of Wojo, you think of Greg Paulus, you think of all that just annoying like you said, slapping the floor, annoying defense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not what they do anymore, which is fine, but they still take away the 3-point line, which is why I think that he can, like, Kay's still a decent defensive coach.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of interesting. Like, do they take away the 3-point line as well as they used to? They certainly do. I mean, their 3-point attempt percentage last year was in the top 10.
Yeah.
Like, over the course of the last, like, however many years, it's been in the top 25. That's what Coach K teaches. Like, they've been so bad defending the interior, though. I think that probably changes this year just due to the fact that they have Bagley and Carter. But, like, you know.
Because is Bagley, or finish your sentence, Bagley's the best rim protector Duke has had since.
Oh, God.
Because that goes hand in hand to
Zubak?
me with, like, yeah, I mean, they're a little bit different rim protectors, but yeah, probably.
Like, Zubak was a pretty good rim protector. Like,
yeah.
Mason wasn't super good. Miles Plumlee, his senior year, was okay. He had, like, that, you know, relatively solid senior year, but I would say Zubak was probably a little bit better than he was. So I'd probably say Zubak, yeah. But, like, the other thing is, too, like, Marvin gets out of position a lot still defensively. Like, he's still learning.
Right. But the fact that you still have this rim protector back behind you, like that, I don't know. This is just it's a little bit of a different Duke team that I've seen for Case. I don't really know, I guess, what to expect defensively.
Let's move on. I think Duke is back. I mean, like, I think that they're going to, you know, it's a fucking joke statement. But like,
they'll be a top 5 team all year.
Duke is back. Question number 7. Is Grayson Allen going to trip anyone this year?
Yes, but it's not going to be the typical Grayson Allen trip. It will be like the Florida State, pushing the Florida State assistant coach controversy. There will be a play that is suspect, and everyone will lose their mind because it's Grayson.
Well, yeah, we have to create content. That is the key. We have to create absolute content.
That will happen.
I hope he doesn't, because I don't want to deal with it. But like,
no. But I also kind of do. I also kind of want it to happen. I want it to happen the very first game.
The internet is going to break if he trips Steven Santa Ana again.
I really hope it happens.
Or like, what if like it's the end of a game and like Grayson just like puts his foot out as a joke and Steven Santa Ana like jumps over it and falls? Like, what after Duke is up like 25?
What if it's the national title game and he's trying to prevent a fast break and trips like Cassius Winston?
Oh my God. All in. I'm all in on this. I'm gonna say that he doesn't, but
there will be. I agree with you. There's going to be a play that draws up controversy, and it's going to be nothing.
Before we move forward, though, let's get an advertisement in real quick. This episode is sponsored by Greats, makers of the all-time greats, classic, stylish, and comfortable sneakers, sold at a great price. Greats is Brooklyn's first sneaker company. They sell all the greats, classic styles, made the best for less. They have a wide selection of men's and women's shoes, versatile styles suitable for any occasion. They have a lot of different colors, materials to choose from, and their best sellers include the all-leather Royale lace-up and Wooster slip-on. Reags, are you a fan of shoes? What kind of shoes do you tend to wear? I'm
actually a big shoe guy. Like I love buying shoes. I wear a little bit of everything. Like my favorite pair actually might be I have a pair of Sauconys, which don't get a lot of credit, blue and red color. I'm a big I got my Air Maxes, I got my Nike Toki Lows, I got a little bit of everything, man. I'm a big shoe guy.
I'm a big shoe guy, but I'm a big sneaker guy.
That's what I mean. Sneakers.
You know, I like my pair of Ultra Boosts get a lot of run. I have a pair of KD Oreos that get a lot of run. Thinking about getting those new LeBron 15s. They're great. But you know what? Sometimes you can't wear sneakers to events. Greats is just perfect for the way that they are versatile for any occasion. They can really be worn if you're going out to a trendy bar, if you're going out to some sort of party where you have to wear a nice shirt or some slacks. They really look great. Can't emphasize enough how much Laura gets on my ass for wanting to wear sneakers everywhere.
I mean, they're comfortable.
they're comfortable, man. I love sneakers. I think they're stylish too. But you can check out those greats along with lots of other styles over at greats.com. And we've got a special deal for our audience. Save 15% on your first order with our offer code Game Theory. That's GAMETHEORY. Go to greats.com. That's GREATS.com. And be sure to enter Game Theory to save 15% at checkout. Greats also believes so much in their shoes, they offer a no-risk return and exchange policy to guarantee that you get the right fit in a style you love. That's greats.com and use our code GAMETHEORY to save 15%. Let's get back to what we're talking about here. Number 8, who is the most overrated team in college basketball entering the season?
North Carolina. They're 9 in the AP poll, I think. That's easily 10 spots too high, especially without Joel Berry. But the fact that they have to play this whole new kind of scheme and system by going small, I don't like the way the roster really fits. I don't think they have great depth. I don't know what they're really going to do in the front court. I like Cam Johnson. I think Joel Berry's a stud, obviously. I don't know. To me, they're a fringe top 20 team with Berry healthy. Without him, I don't know if they're top 25 at all.
Yeah, I like that pick. I'm going to go with Florida. Florida lost a lot from last season. I don't think people are kind of recognizing just how much the Gators are losing. They lose Casey Hill, who was second team All-SEC last year. They lose Devin Robinson, who was a double-digit scorer, who's a really good defender by the time he left Florida. Canyon Barry was really good off the bench for them. I know that, people complain that he wasn't efficient, but if you look at his true shooting percentage, it's 57%, and he was a double-digit scorer. Justin Leon, you talk to people kind of around the SEC, and they can't talk about him enough. He was a 9-point per game scorer who's a really, really good defender. Now, they do get in a 5-man freshman class who is athletic, and there aren't any super big names. Isaiah Stokes, I think, is the biggest name, but he tore his ACL, I think, in January, so he's going to be kind of slow to get back. Speaking of torn ACLs, John Igbunu, their big man, 7-foot-tall rim protector, runs in transition pretty well, can score on the post. He's out until right around January, December, somewhere in that range as well, due to a torn ACL that he suffered last year. But
on the flip side, you can say at least they're getting he comes back.
He will come back.
Who knows what it looks like? But he was good last year before he got hurt.
He was fine. I think that another thing too is they bring in Jalen Hudson, who I'm a really big fan of. I've liked him since his freshman year at Virginia Tech, 6'5" creator with the ball in his hands, relatively inefficient, but we'll see if the year off has kind of helped him in terms of transferring. Igor Kulichov is a shot maker through and through.
Yep.
I think that they lost more than they returned, though, in terms of talent. And to me, they were okay last year. I didn't think they were an incredible basketball team. I know that Ken Palm had them in the top 5 entering the NCAA tournament, but I don't know. They were fine. I thought. I guess I'm saying that a team that was top 5 in Ken Palm and made the Elite 8 or whatever was just fine. But I don't know. I think they played over their potential and got a little bit lucky getting to play a bad Virginia team as a 5 seed. Number 8 Wisconsin team and a 10th seeded, or maybe a 7th seeded South Carolina team.
Yeah, I guess. I think they're a little bit better than what people gave them credit for last year. But yeah, I can see them being an answer. I still it might just be blind trust in Mike White and Kayvon Allen, but I don't know. To me, I'm still sticking with North Carolina.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Number 9, who is the most underrated team in the country?
I'm inclined to say Seton Hall. They were really low in the AP polls. I think they'll be able to figure out. The point guard situation.
It's going to be Kadeem Carrington. I don't think there's anything to figure out. It's just
I mean, in the sense of Carrington adjusting the playing point, moving back to on the ball guard, because that's that and outside shooting is their biggest question mark. I think they figured out. I like Miles Cale. I like Miles Powell. I think they're kind of in that. If you look at AP coaches poll versus where I think the team should be, I think Seton Hall kind of fits that mold.
In terms of top 10 teams, I'm going to go with Villanova.
That's I almost said them.
Yeah, I think they're the third best team this year, maybe the fourth best team this year.
Yeah, the more and more I look at it and the more I talk to people from Villanova, the more I like them. I think they're I put them 5 in my preseason. I'm mad I didn't put them above Kansas right now.
Yeah. Another team that I think is super underrated is Purdue.
So far opposite on you on that.
Yeah, I mean, they're the best returning shooting team in the country, and I think that Painter will get them defending enough. Another
I think
team
the reason why they were good shooting, though, is no longer there.
I don't know if that's true. I mean, they just have a lot of really good shooters.
Yeah, but Swanigan's such a good passer out of the post.
They drew a lot of attention, to be sure.
Yeah, I don't trust Isaac Haas.
Yeah, that's what comes down I don't either. That's true. And then another team I kind of just want to point out randomly, like Cincinnati. We'll talk about them in a minute. Like I have them as an answer to like another question that I have, but like a team that was picked 13th in the SEC is Tennessee. I think Tennessee, like sneaky, might make an NCAA tournament run. Like,
I hope not. I got a 1,500-word email Saturday night about a guy. The headline was, "Remember this in March," and it was all about Tennessee basketball, ending with, "If they don't make the tournament, he's going to eat his grandmother's ashes."
Oh, my God.
So I really hope Tennessee sucks.
I think Tennessee can be pretty decent. They return Grant Williams. They bring in James Daniel out of Howard, who led the NCAA in scoring 2 years ago. Also, as podcast listeners know, Cole and I are super excited about Yves Pons, the super athletic French kid coming in. I kind of like them. I kind of think they're really sneaky good. Let's talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just don't know where they finished. The SEC is going to be weird in that middle of the pack.
I mean, they finished 8-10 last year in the SEC too. Like, it's not like they were bad. That was a bizarre pick to me to have them 13th in the SEC.
I think I had them last too, honestly.
Yeah. Number 10, most interesting conference in the country this year. I think that might dovetail nicely with Tennessee.
Yeah, I think it's one. There's two answers here for me. It's the SEC or the Big East. I think you're going to go SEC, so I'll go Big East because I feel like people are kind of doubting Villanova. They're still the best team in the conference. 2, 3, and 4 are really good. Like Providence is a really good number 4 in that conference. Seton Hall, Xavier, however you like them, are a really good number 2 and 3. And then 5 to 8's wide open. And and talent-wise and on paper, I think 8 teams make sense to the NCAA tournament. Obviously, I don't think they get 8 in, but man, the Big East is just another year where they're just a really good conference. That's the second best conference in America to me.
Yeah, I think that the Big East is a really good pick. Very, very deep in terms of talent. I would also point out that I think the SEC is going to be really interesting just because of all of the kind of FBI stuff going on. Does Colin Sexton play? Does Auburn end up getting some of its guys back? Just a super deep league, too. Like, we're going to move on to another team in that league with the next question as well. But, I don't think there's, a certain clear-cut favorite. Like, we could talk about Kentucky, and we'll do that in a minute. Like, number 11, what do we make of Kentucky this year? But, I think Texas A&M certainly has a lot of experience. Florida, I mean, maybe they're better than I think they are. There are just a lot of really interesting teams that I think could make a run there. So let's just talk about number 11 with Kentucky.
Yeah, I think the only thing we know about this team is they're going to be very good defensively.
Do we?
I think so.
They have the pieces to be, but they're very young.
They are, but it's something that Calipari's used to, and I think people don't realize he's a defensive coach. Like everyone loves to talk dribble. Everyone loves to talk dribble drive, and it's like, nah, man. Like he's a defensive guy through and through. Like the dribble drive just happened to be there, and he's had really good players to help on the offensive side. He's a defensive coach.
He's been there. What? This will be year 11, I think.
No, because it was the year after I graduated.
So year 10. I'm sorry. This will be year 10.
It was 09-10. No, he was there in 09-10, so this is year 9.
Yeah, you're right. This is year 9.
Yeah, because he's made the Final Four 50% of the time that he's been at Kentucky, and he's made 4. So
this will be year 9. So he's been there 8 years. They've been a top 10 defense in the country 4 of those 8 years, and then he also has a 16th place appearance. They've been a really, really good defensive team. I think that there's a very good chance that he figures that out. My biggest question is role allocation on offense. I don't know what this team's going to look like offensively.
I don't know.
Spacing. they don't really have like a tried and true like post threat either. To me, like I think there's a chance that this just kind of looks like players taking turns dribble driving into a crowded paint.
I think that's the most likely outcome, but I still think something happens in terms of there's going to be a player that becomes a better shooter that we didn't expect. Whether it's Quade Green, whether it's Kevin Knox, whether it's Hamidou Diallo, someone's going to step up and just be that another. Like there will be two guys that can stretch the floor. It kind of happened last year where I don't think people expected Malik Monk to be the kind of volume shooter he was heading into the year.
That's fair.
And I'm not saying someone's going to like. I don't think anyone's going to score or shoot like Malik Monk did last year because that was pretty impressive for a freshman. But somebody will kind of exceed expectations there, and then you'll have like the Derek Willis type. I don't know who that's going to be. My money's on Kevin Knox and somebody else. My money's on like Quade Green and Kevin Knox. But you're asking me who I think exceeds shooting expectations.
Yeah, I think those are the best in terms of shooting expectations. PJ Washington, I think, might be their most productive player this year. Like, he's going to be able to just grab rebounds and create extra possessions for them and create putback opportunities. Like, I think he's going to be really, really good for them.
Yeah. I think Knox is going to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
For similar reasons. He's got that big body. He's got long arms. He can score. Like, I kind of think you see him be the one that kind of steps up as the quote, the guy if Kentucky has one.
Well, like, I think, like, is it fair to say that I think like Kevin Knox might be their best player, but PJ Washington might be a little bit more productive? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair. That makes sense.
Let's move on. Number 12. Who is the best defensive team in college basketball this year?
Wow.
We talk so much about offense that I think that the defenders should get the credit that they deserve.
I mean, it's like people wanted. I know the default answer is Virginia, just because it's Virginia,
right?
But if Omari Spellman can switch pick and rolls, Villanova will be the best defensive team in the country.
That's a good call. I like that one. I like that one a lot.
But I don't know if Omari Spellman can do that. That's up in the air. I'm trying to think like who else if it's not them, who else would it be? Like, I mean, like Michigan.
I think my pick's going to be Wichita State.
Yeah, that's probably the right answer.
Yeah, I mean, like they return everyone from last year's team. Zach
and they're
Brown
already a good defensive team.
Yeah, like Zach Brown's one of the best defenders in all of college basketball. Yeah. Marcus McDuffie's long and athletic once he comes back. Shaq Morris is a pretty strong rim protector, at least. Like, he's big and tough.
Who's their worst defender? Frank Camp?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely Frank Camp. But, I mean, whenever you surround him with four guys who can really defend, it's going to be fine, I think. Shamit's not, like, amazing defensively, but he's good enough at the point of attack to where he can deal with some things.
And he's got good size. He's long. Like, he can bother shooters.
Yeah, I think that's my pick. Kind of dovetailing with that, who was the best defender in college basketball?
I'm trying to think. All right, that's another good one. Best defender. Is it Mikal Bridges? Maybe.
I think Bridges is a really good pick.
I'm trying to think like who within a good system is also a good defender. I think I might go Mikal Bridges.
I don't think Bridges is a bad pick at all. I think that's a totally fair selection. I'm trying to think of some other random defenders that I like a little bit.
Like Darius Thompson?
Yeah, he's okay.
I'm just trying to think like of those guys that maybe are like get overlooked or something like that.
Like Kyrie Thomas is really good.
Yeah.
Javon Carter won the award last year as best defensive player.
Yeah,
he's unbelievable.
But how much of that is? I mean, he is also really, really good. But how much of that is also part of like the West Virginia defensive? Like people just talk about how good West Virginia is defensively.
I think that definitely played a part in it.
Right.
Sure. Like he's a good player. He's a really good player defensively. He's awesome at the point of attack. He gets a ton of steals.
What about like Peyton Pritchard or someone like that out west?
I mean, I think the best perimeter defender in the West was probably DeAnthony Melton last year.
Yeah.
at least in terms of like returning guys. I would say that like Reggie Lynch at Minnesota is really good. Dakota Mathias
Lynch is good.
Really good.
Devontae Graham.
Devontae Graham's pretty good. Yeah, I like Devontae. I'm trying to think. Like there are just a lot of those like random guys that you can kind of point out and say, but man, I wish I would have thought of these beforehand, so I would have like an actual answer here.
I mean, it's also like best defender is also a little subjective because what do you value? Do you value versatility? Do you value a guard that can just get in shorts and annoy another ball handler? Do you value a rim protector? You know, like, because that's what makes it a little subjective is the sense of, well, this guy's a better defender because of steals or blocks or just the ability to guard four positions.
Yeah, like you could point out, like Taco Fall is, you know, he's going to shut down the paint, and UCF's going to be one of the best defensive teams in the country.
Right, like, but I would never say he's a better defender than Mikal Bridges or D'Anthony Melton or
actually, you know who I'm going to take? I might take Isaiah Wilkins at Virginia.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Isaiah Wilkins can guard 1 through 4. He's the linchpin of what they do. Unbelievable perimeter defender. Javon Carter is incredible as well. Like I don't want to not state Javon Carter. He's absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, I'd probably go with something along those lines as opposed to him. I like versatile guys more than I like point guard defenders, I would say. Let's move on. Talk about number 13. You texted me a little while ago and asked me, who do I think is going to be the most improved player? The guy who comes out of nowhere and has like a Luke Kennard type year. Who Kennard, after his freshman year, we kind of thought he'd be like the 6th best player on Duke, and he ended up being like very clearly their best player last year. Who is that player that you're looking at that is going to take that leap? The most improved player in college basketball?
Dante DiVincenzo. I'm sticking with Nova here. Like he's like my breakout guy, so to speak, versus like necessarily improved. Mm-hmm. But I would not be surprised if he leads Villanova in scoring.
Wow, that's a big call. That's a big call.
Well, mostly because of kind of what happened. Like teams are going to try to take away Brunson. Brunson's willing, like he's a willing passer, and Villanova's system just will lead to open shots for a guy like Dante DiVincenzo, who can shoot it and drive and score. So like that wouldn't. That's you know, if you're making me bet, I'm betting Jalen Brunson's going to be the leading scorer, but it wouldn't shock me if he's second, DiVincenzo's first. You know, him. There's 3 guys that I always answer with this. It's him, it's Carson Edwards, and it's Kevin Huerter.
I like those 3. I was going to pick Cassius Winston at Michigan State.
Yeah, he's really good pick too, because he's going to take care of the ball. Like I don't think you see like the high turnover percentage that he had last year.
I hope not. Like I think he's capable of doing that, but like I'm not like 100. Like I can't say I'm like 100% clear that he can do that, but I think as long as he does it, he'll be certainly up there. I think TJ Maston at Baylor like might be their next like leading scorer, like big guy. You know.
Here's one for you, Omer Yurtseven.
Yeah, that's a great one. I think he's going to be awesome in Kevin Keats' system. You look at a guy like what the hell is the kid's name from Wilmington?
CJ Bryce?
No, Kaycock. Devontae Kaycock?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah, Devontae Kaycock. Like he led the country in effective field goal percentage and true shooting percentage last year, 79 and 76.1%. I think Yurtseven's going to get a lot easier looks than what he got last year in that system, and it's going to make life a lot easier. In terms of guys that like I think are going to burst onto the national scene, I also just want to mention like Cam McGusty. Every single Big 12 coach I've talked to has been like, this dude is a stud. He's going to be awesome in Oklahoma.
Yep, he's really good. He's so good. I mean, and that's the cool thing about college basketball too, is there are going to be these guys and everyone's like, wait a minute, where did this guy come from? Or, oh yeah, he was really high. Like a guy like Kennard, like, oh yeah, he was a McDonald's All-American that just kind of got buried for a year.
Yeah. Number 14, who is your most underrated freshman entering the year?
Oh, wow. Part of me wants to say Troy Brown just because he's playing out west in Oregon and people kind of forgotten about him.
Sure.
What was that?
Sure. My dog just did something really dumb and made a bunch of shit fall.
I kind of want to say Troy Brown. I mean, he's obviously still when you look at when you talk to people. When you talk to people that really are following college basketball, everybody knows Troy Brown. But I don't think he's getting enough credit that he should for kind of what he can do.
Yeah, I don't think that that's a bad pick at all. I was talking to our buddy Rob Dosser, you had on your podcast, the Fundamentally Sound podcast last night, earlier today, and he was trying to figure out, who are some of the most important players in the country, and he mentioned Troy Brown. And I didn't immediately buy that, and then I thought about, how their offense is going to operate, and I was like, I kind of dig that. He is going to be incredibly important with how their offense operates.
I'm trying to think what other freshmen are kind of flying under the radar.
I mean, my guys for the last 2 years has been Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Yeah.
To me, he's starting to get some publicity. Mike Schmitz has been talking about him as well. He's been me and Mike's guy for a while.
Right.
He was kind of undervalued by recruiting services. We felt he is a legit lead guard at 6'5". He can handle. He has long arms. He actually gives a shit defensively. Really, really good creator. Can get his own shot. Can get shots for teammates. He'll guard multiple positions in that Buzz Williams scheme. They're going to have Chris Clark back. Hopefully, Chris Clark is another guy who can do some similar stuff in terms of passing the ball and guarding multiple positions. The biggest thing with him has always been he's super, super skinny, but he's put on 15 pounds since he's gotten there. And I watched a couple of highlights from their they played South Carolina in that exhibition game, and he looked a little bit bigger. He looked like he actually is going to be able to deal with college basketball this year. So I'm going to go with him. I think he's a really strong pick for this.
Here's a couple other names that I was thinking about, and it was Nick Weatherspoon at Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at Kentucky. I think he's a little bit under the radar just because of how deep that freshman class is.
Sure.
And Mark Smith at Illinois.
Mark Smith at Illinois, I think, is going to be a big reason why Illinois is going to make a sneaky NCAA tournament run this year. I think they'll be on the bubble more than be an NCAA tournament team, but a lot of people are writing them off a little bit. And,
oh yeah, no, they shouldn't. They'll be fine. Yeah,
Brad Underwood's really, really good.
Yeah, and he has guards to play with.
Yeah, just a couple of other guys that I like. Dejon Davis at Stanford, I think, is going to be really good, along with Oscar da Silva. I just had one on top of my mouth. Jermaine Samuels at Villanova, I think, is going to give them a lot. Yeah. Najee Marshall has been really, really impressive for Xavier. I've talked about him in a few different things. Isaiah Washington at Minnesota is going to give them a different dimension off the bench as a scorer. Ricky O'Donnell, a good friend of the podcast, just wrote about him this week over at SB Nation. I would encourage all of you to go check that out. Musa Jallow as well at Ohio State. You start to hear some really pretty good things about him so far as well.
You could probably just start putting in an Ohio State player from here on out as an under-the-radar freshman.
Yeah, probably. I mean, who knows with the new coaching staff? But right. Butler has always found these guys like Kamar Baldwin last year.
Someone next year is going to be the same. We'll be doing this in a year from now. We'll be like, oh yeah, this guy from Ohio State.
Yeah,
Luther Muhammad. I'm saying it now.
Number 15. Who is the mid-major team that you're going to be watching most closely this year?
Bucknell.
Okay.
I think Bucknell could be. They could be. They're going to be a popular 12 over 5 seed. I wouldn't They have a legit chance to get some really quality non-conference wins, and if they kind of take care of business there and in the Patriot, a 10 or 11 seed's not out of the question.
So I'm going to bring up UT Arlington because I'm contractually obligated to do so, given the fact that I wrote that big thing on them last year. So they actually got kind of sneaky lucky in terms of the teams they play early on here. So they have to play Loyola Marymount at home on Saturday for their opener. They get a week off before they play BYU. They play BYU in Provo. If they can get a win there, I think that would be huge. If you remember correctly, that UT Arlington team actually beat BYU by 16 on the road last year in the NIT. Then on November 21st, they get Alabama, who, without Colin Sexton, is going to be in a bit of a hole. Eric Neal's really, really good. Kevin Hervey is really, really good. I like a lot of their role player types as well. They do lose Drew Charles, who was a bigger part of that team than what I think a lot of people recognize, but he's awesome. I also want to point out College of Charleston. They're awesome. They returned their top 6 players, and they won 25 games last year before losing to an awesome UNC Wilmington team in the CAA tournament. Like, they're a really, really good team. Joe Cheeley's awesome. Jarrell Brantley's really good. Grant Riller, I think, was an awesome freshman last year. They're just an awesome, awesome team. So those are the 2 I'm watching. And, Nevada is going to be everyone's pick here, though, so I'm kind of trying to avoid them.
We've now named 4. I just pulled up. I did the whole mid-major preview, and I ranked the top. I did top 25 of mid-major teams to it. Then we've named 4 of my top 5.
Who was your other one?
Middle Tennessee.
Is Middle Tennessee going to be good?
I mean, they still have Giddy Potts.
Giddy. As long as you have Giddy Potts, I think you're in good shape.
I still think they'll be fine. But then, like, other teams that if you want to go a little bit lower than that, like, I'm super high in Vermont this year. Trey Ball Haynes. And it's mostly just John Becker. Like, John Becker is just such a good coach. And they're going to defend. I mean, they're the heavy favorites in the America East. Sneaky game. Them at Rupp Arena on Sunday, I think it is. Like, I'm kind of curious to see them there. I'm contractually obligated to say Grand Canyon with everything I'm doing with them. Joshua Braun. That dude can just go get buckets. I mean, plus Casey Benson there now. You get a guy with experience. Oakland's another fun team with Kendrick Nunn and Greg Campy. And then we'll go with those guys.
Yeah, that's not a bad pick, I don't think. Let's go on ahead and move on. Number 16, who is your dark horse Final Four team?
I gave out Seton Hall a little bit later. I talked about this, and I think the Final Four is going to end up being like 2 traditional teams, one new, like, someone's going to lose their Final Four virginity, whether it's like Sean Miller or Mike Bray. Someone like that is going to lose their Final Four virginity, and then there's going to be like a 6 seed that makes it. St. Mary's is kind of a dark horse Final Four just because they can really dictate tempo and they're super efficient, and they're going to be a 6 seed that I think could get there. I'll go them as kind of my dark horse.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad pick at all. I mean, mine has been pretty clear. I think it's Cincinnati. What is Cincinnati's weakness?
I remember I text this to you. My biggest question is who takes the shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like Troy Calpain, yes, he wasn't a great player. He was a good, steady player, but he bailed them out of games. Like, he just won games for him because he hit big shots.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They have guys capable of that this year. I don't know who it is though. Like, does it end up being Jacob Evans? Does it end up being John Cumberland? Does it end up being Kane Broom? Does it end up being Gary Clark? Do they go in the post? Does it end up being, I don't know who it ends up being. They have options, but they need somebody. Yeah,
I think I do share that concern a little bit. I think it's going to be Jacob Evans. Like, I think that, people who've known me for a while have known, like, I think Jacob Evans is like a potential first-round pick. He's really, really goddamn good. Kane Broom, I think, is going to be solid. To me, like, as long as they can shoot the ball and space the floor, I think things are going to be fine. But they're going to play 5 out anyway because guys like Kyle Washington and Gary Clark, you can't leave them open from outside. You know what I mean?
I think they run 4 out, 1 in.
Yeah, they probably will.
I think they'll go more that style and almost run like a de facto high-low without really being a true high-low.
Yeah.
And then just rotate who you want up high with Washington or Clark.
Yeah, I don't hate that. So looking at my list here, I realized that I'm an idiot and counted number 13 twice.
Oh, nice.
So we're actually on number 18 here. Number 13 I counted as both best defender and most improved player. So, that's what happens sometimes. Number 18, who is your National Player of the Year pick?
Jalen Brunson.
I knew you were going to pick him. And that's why I put this pick on.
Yeah. So yes, it is a little contrarian because Miles Bridges is the best player in the country, and everyone's picking him to win National Player of the Year. Jalen Brunson was better than Josh Hart and Big East play last year. Now the question is, was it because teams were taking away Josh Hart and saying, no, beat us somewhere else? Was it just the development of Jalen Brunson or a combination of both? I tend to lean into a combination of both. I think Brunson is arguably the smartest player in the country. He has the capability to play bully ball. Like, he'll take a guard and just bully his way to the basket.
Yep.
He will light you up. He'll light you up from the outside. He became a much better shooter, both off the bounce and catch and shoot. Villanova's system runs, gets open shots for guys like Brunson. From what I've heard from talking to some guys on the Nova staff, is Spellman has been an excellent passer out of the post and out of the high post, which just completely opens it up even more. And Nova's going to win 30 games. Like, they're going to be a top 5 team. That usually helps in picking National Player of the Year. So I trust Nova to be good, and I trust Jalen Brunson to be good. So he's kind of my second safe pick with Miles Bridges. And then just the contrarian in me wants to go with Brunson.
Yeah, I think the big key for Brunson, I had him at number 3 or number 4 on my top 100 players list. I think that's an excellent pick. The key with him is going to be having Dante DiVincenzo and having Omari Spellman step up and be able to take some of that burden off of him. As long as they do that, 100% agree. I think that he is going to be awesome this year.
Not to mention Phil Booth is coming back.
Phil Booth's coming back too. That's a really important piece as well. He's going to be able to help too. My pick is Miles Bridges. I do think he is just the best player in college basketball on, the team that ultimately we'll get to in a second as for another subject here. But I think that he's just an overall stud. Like, he is a two-way player. He is so mature as a human being. He, you don't have to worry about him hitting a wall. He is one of the most athletic players in the country. The key for me is the jump shot. Does he continue to shoot 40% from 3 on those set shots, or can he add a little bit of a dimension as an off-ball creator who can at least attack closeouts, hit a mid-range jump shot off the bounce maybe? That's kind of the next development with his game. But if he can do that at all, and even if he can't do it at all, I think that he is just going to be an absolute monster this season. And, you're talking maybe 19 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists a game from him.
Who's your pick if you can't say Miles Bridges?
Probably Jalen Brunson. I think that, between just being on a good team that, is relevant. I don't know that Michael Porter is going to be on a team that's relevant enough. I don't know that Marvin Bagley is going to put up the outrageous numbers that you need to for this award. Same with Ethan Happ. I don't know that Wisconsin's going to be relevant enough this year. Sorry, Ben. If you made me pick another guy, I might pick. I think I'd pick Fonzie Colson.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Third,
he'd be my top 5 list. I think Devontae Graham would probably be my next pick.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Number 19. What is your wild, bold prediction for this college basketball season?
So it was going to be kind of what I mentioned earlier, that there's going to be a Final Four virginity lost and a higher seed, a 6 seed or something like that makes the Final Four. I'll avoid that, and I'm going to go with we'll stick with Wisconsin, and we talk about streaks. Wisconsin's not finishing in the top 4 in the Big Ten.
Okay.
And it's been going. It's been 17 years.
Yeah.
That streak's ending.
Yeah, I think that's bold. I don't think it's totally unfair though, and not unfounded. I think that whenever I did the Big Ten preview with Ben, I think I had them a 5th or 6th.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I have them 7 or 8.
My bold prediction here is that, so the last time that a double-digit seeded mid-major made the Sweet 16 was Florida Gulf Coast, Dunk City year and everything. There have been some double-digit seeds that have made the Sweet 16, but true mid-majors
not Syracuse,
not Gonzaga out of the West Coast Conference, right. Not even LaSalle out of the A10. The A10 is still a really good league. My bold prediction is that not just one of those teams makes the Sweet 16, but 2 double-digit seeded mid-majors make the Sweet 16 this year.
I like that a lot because we went over the list of teams that we like in mid-majors. There's a lot of them, and they all can easily they can all compete with big-time programs.
So, yeah, my theory on this is that the talent level in college basketball, I think, is just down this year. I just don't think it's a very top-heavy year in college basketball. If you remember when Florida Gulf Coast made that run toward the NCAA tournament, it was 2013, right? Think about the freshman class that was in the 2013 draft year. It was Anthony Bennett. It was Shabazz Muhammad. It was Nerlens Noel. That weak-ass freshman class, right? I don't think this class is as bad as that one, but I think it's not necessarily on the higher end when you consider that some of the freshmen are probably going to be sitting out for quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
In general, over the last 2 years, I think there's been a mass exodus of talent going toward the NBA draft just due to that new rule that allows kids to test the waters for the NBA. I think that some high majors are down. I think that some of the way they've constructed their roster around those major terrific freshmen that are going to be one and dones that may or may not be sitting out this year. Some of those teams are going to be hurt by it. And ultimately, I think we're just setting up for an NCAA tournament that's going to be filled with madness, and that some of these experienced mid-major teams, like you look at a Vermont, or you look at a Bucknell, or you look at a College of Charleston, or a Middle Tennessee, or X, Y, and Z. I think they do it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes complete sense to me because, and not only think about the freshman class from 13, think about the teams that were successful that year. How great was really how great was that Louisville team? Really, how great was that Michigan team? How great was the Syracuse team? They're 3-year Final Four.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that it's going to be a weird year, and that's my weird prediction for this year.
I like that one. That's a really good one. I like that.
Number 20, who do you have in your Final Four?
I think you have to. The two teams you immediately have to put in is Michigan State and Villanova. Mm-hmm. For me, those are my quote safe picks because you take out any teams revolved around the FBI and anything going on with that. So my two safe picks out of the top teams are those guys. From there, I'm going to go with Miami.
That's bold. I like it.
And I'm going to go with – who do I want to go with, man? I don't think it's going to be Duke because, like we mentioned, there's just not enough bench there. I'm going to go with – do I want to go with, Wichita or USC, or do I want to go with someone, even more bold? I'll go with – you know what? I'll go with, I'll go with Notre Dame.
Sure. Why not? Let's get wild.
Right. I'll go Notre Dame, Miami, Michigan State, Villanova.
I went with Michigan State, Arizona, Villanova, Duke. Real by the books here for me. Those are my top 4 teams. That's just kind of what I mean.
To me, right. These are no way my top 4 teams. When's the last time there are the top 4 teams made the Final Four? Well, it happened once, 15.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%.
Right.
Sometimes you just have to pick that kind of under the radar thing. But at the end of the day, for me, if I'm ranking these teams in the top 4, I probably have to have them in my Final Four.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So my top 4 would probably be the same then.
Yeah, just from a logical perspective for me. And,
right.
I am nothing if I'm not ruled by an insane, stupid amount of logic. Number 21, who is your national champion? No better way to finish. Reags, go on ahead.
So, again, I'll be a little bit of a contrarian. Everyone's saying Michigan State. My answer probably should be Michigan State. I'll go Villanova.
I like it. Totally fair pick.
I'm pretty in on Nova this year. I like the depth. I like the versatility. If Spellman can figure out pick and roll, switching defense, they're just going to be a menace defensively. They're going to be a menace offensively. They've won it. Jay Wright has that monkey off his back. I'll go Villanova.
I dig it. I'm going to go with Michigan State. Villanova would be my second pick for what it's worth.
Yeah, Michigan, Villanova is my second pick. It's just again, me being a contrarian, everyone says Michigan State.
Yeah, I'm going to go Michigan State. They're just so deep everywhere. Like, they have the best front court in the country. They have the most positionally versatile roster in the country. Like, if they need to play big, they can go with Jaren Jackson, Miles Bridges, and Nick Ward along the front line. If they need to go small and athletic, they can play Jackson and Bridges.
The only team that has more bigs than them are the Suns.
I don't even know if the Suns do.
Yeah, they combined have 42 bigs.
Yeah, and you hear all of the talk about Gavin Schilling and Xavier Tillman looking really good so far. Right. Maybe Ben Carter brings something. Cassius Winston and Tum Tum are both really good. Or Tum Tum's okay, but Cassius is going to be really good.
Right.
The key for me is the wing. Can they find enough versatility on the wing to, at least kind of prop up those big guys? It was something that scared me at UCLA last year and ultimately made me go away from picking them to go to the Final Four. I think it really hindered their defense, not having really strong defensive wings that can do a lot of stuff. To me, Miles Bridges still profiles best as a 4-man than as a 3. Yep. At the college level, I think he can defend threes, and Josh Langford, I'm pretty in on as well. But beyond him, I just don't really know how that works. They have Matt McQuaid, but is he enough to kind of make it work? Do they go 2 point guards more often with Tum Tum and Cassius? A lot of stuff to kind of work out, I think, for Michigan State.
Can they take care of the ball is my question.
Yeah, that was my big question for them as well. They turned the ball over a ton last year. Yep. They need to hinder it. They need to lower that a little bit. But at the end of the day, I think that this is the team with the highest upside, the best mix of experience and depth, and just high-end talent in the country. So I went with Michigan State. I think they're really good.
Yeah, no, they are really good.
Riggs, do you have any other comments on the college basketball season? We just went 21 questions, 50 Cent style. Anything else you want to say?
Those were good questions. I'm excited, man. I'm excited that we're finally here. I'm pretty sure my wife's pretty jazzed up that she never has to see me until March now.
That was a healthy marriage, folks.
Yeah, so it's just I'm so excited that we finally get to see games. I'm so excited that people are done overvaluing these secret scrimmages and these exhibitions and trying to make some sort of correlation from it to these teams. And it's motherfucker, Syracuse lost to Lemoyne in 2009, and they were the number 1 seed in that NCAA tournament. It means literally nothing. Stop trying to talk about secret scrimmages. Stop trying to talk about exhibitions. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean,
now games matter.
I think that they matter from a coaching perspective, but coaches are so often just trying to do so many different things. They're trying to test different stuff out. They're not really coaching to win. They're coaching to, try and figure out different stuff. So yeah,
that was the whole Villanova Virginia secret scrimmage. They literally there was a score, but it was all situational plays.
Yeah, no, it's silly to me to even try and at least from a results perspective to worry about it. There's just always going to be so much weird stuff going on in those deals. Reags, tell the people where they can find your work. Tell the people about your podcast. Tell them whatever you want to tell them. Yeah, so you can find all my stuff at Barstool Sports. You follow me at Barstool Reags. I tweet out everything. Getting ready to do. I just got some stuff in the works for this year. I think I might add a weekly or daily Periscope, something like that, just to do a little more interaction. Because you can only tweet so many times. You can follow the show at Fundamentally SD. As Sam mentioned, I do it with Ben Brust of Wisconsin basketball fame, and you can follow that at Fundamentally SD. Subscribe on Stitcher, iTunes, all that good stuff. This has been the Game Theory Podcast. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the show. It really helps us move up in the ratings. Also, please remember to subscribe to The Athletic. Keep me employed. It's very helpful to my career if I am employed. It's also going to keep this podcast running as long as I am employed. Keep it plugged there. I'm going to have a lot of really good film stuff, a lot of really good stuff throughout the course of the year. That's about all I got for you guys. So, until next time, we will talk soon. Bye.